Hey there. It may not be the first, but it is the Nth Forum. This is number 7 for August 5, 2021. Hello there. I see you in the chat, Romega. Good evening to you, good sir. Oh my goodness, we are here. We've got so much to tackle.
I lost you if you're talking. By the way. Like, cannot hear you if you're talking, Nick. There you are.
Bang.
Now I can hear you.
Gosh. What the heck? That's
What'd
my
you
microphone.
do?
My microphone came unplugged a little bit.
Oh.
Like just enough.
Yeah, Windows hates when that happens.
Yeah, Windows hates when you think sometimes. It's like
Yeah, it doesn't like it when you unplug your microphone. It takes it like a year to re-recognize it. It's never fun.
And I didn't even try.
Midstreams,
Like I was
sucks.
just talking to you, and it was like, just what?
Windows is like, screw you.
Seriously.
That's what we're gonna do.
Oh my god.
Screw
Anyway,
you.
Jace, welcome to this
Thank you.
seventh Nth Forum. This is like the second or third time that I've done an intro and no one's heard it. But here I am.
Pleasure's always. But yeah, it happens.
And it's great. Yeah. Well,
It's amazing.
That's what happens. I don't know if you saw. You were here when I rearranged my background, right? Like I rearranged my background because I moved to this corner a little bit ago, and yeah, I'm really enjoying having this wall here.
Yeah, I see your wall.
Yeah, you see my wall.
I do see your wall.
How are you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. Doing all right. Doing
Yeah.
fantastic.
Great. Yeah, Kelly is out of town. He's working, so he'll be back later this next week. Everyone's trying to make it to next week. That's that is our appointment.
The plan.
The plan is everyone. It's just going to be like celestial bodies aligning in space. And we're gonna figure this out somehow, because the more the merrier, right?
Is that a Stretch Armstrong in a box over there?
It sure hecking is.
I know it was weird. I saw that. I'm like, is that a Stretch Armstrong? Like, threw me off. So
that is
Sorry.
not what I intended to happen at all.
I went off into a tangent. So
Yeah. Wow.
What's up, Stretch? How's it going, buddy?
Hey, but that was a. He really firms up. Hang on, that's wow. He's got a butt dimple in here. Hang on.
Good for stress.
He's got a butt dimple where he's been resting.
He is quite the handsome man.
He is. Hang on. This is.
That's a Chad right there.
Hey, Jace. What's up, buddy? I'm your pal, Stretch.
What's up? What's up, buddy?
Have you ever stretched before?
He literally looks like somebody like, "Hi, everybody. My name's Chad. We're gonna go work out and have a good time." Like, he's a total Chad, dude.
I'm gonna grow up and become an atomic scientist like my grandpa.
Oh, I'm definitely gonna do that. Call me Chad. Such a Chad, dude. He is buffed.
He's
and
melting
he's stretchy.
in my hand. He is. So I moved his arm, and I thought I had ripped it open, but it's just the stuffing and like that. My God, that's a scary sound. I thought I was ripping the rubber silicone.
Sorry, didn't
outside.
mean to spin you off into a tangent with the stretch. It just happened to catch my eye.
Yeah, I understand. This is made in China.
Well, yeah, of course, everything's made in China. Didn't you know that?
Don't you remember in Back to the Future when they're like, of course it's garbage, it's made in Japan. And it's like, all the best stuff is made in Japan.
What have you done to his legs? Oh my gosh.
Listen, we're not here to talk
Stretch.
about his legs.
Or stretch.
He's gonna. We had. I want to save it for when Kelly comes in. I actually trying to bring up my agenda here. Where am I at?
You can save it for later.
Yeah, we're gonna bring that because I really want Kelly in because he is our tech dude, and he did let me know that he was gonna be out this week, and I remembered today. You gotta remember, guys, this show comes together in basically the minutes before we hit the stream button, and it's really cool.
Well, I was gonna say I had some topics too. So something we discussed, I didn't add it to the document, but I figured we can still talk about it. Was recent developments in the Activision-Blizzard case. I know we discussed it a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
It's just interesting now that the workers had their walkout, and they're pissed. They didn't like the way the company said things. They walk out. And then what do they bring in? HR specialists and union busters. It was just an interesting turn of events to it. And then the fact that they fired their longtime head, I cannot remember his name. I just remember his long hair and his answer to the Diablo Immortal question when somebody asked him. That video is great. But I'd have to look and check for names. But he basically was ousted, and they replaced him with two long-term Blizzard Activision.
The former CEO who had been there for since the 90s, who had replaced Morhaime, I believe. So he was kicked out, and then the head of HR was kicked out, and then you're saying they replaced by a pair of longtime Blizzard alums or veterans there.
Not just a man, but with a woman.
Yeah.
So I really hope that it was a matter of those people deserve to be in those positions, or it's not just a spin doctor. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I'm also seeing Activision-Blizzard Chief Compliance Officer Frances Townsend, who earned the ire of Activision employees and fans with her defensive response to a lawsuit alleging widespread sexual harassment and a frat boy culture at the company, has deleted her Twitter account. This is PC Gamer here.
Really?
Townsend pulled the plug after retweeting last week an Atlantic article on the problem with whistleblowing, which sparked an immediate and furious backlash. Because that's what you don't want. You don't want whistleblowers. You don't want people telling the truth or revealing things. None of that. You don't want any of that to happen because it can complicate corporate culture and make things difficult. And I guess the victims will get what they need out of a situation, but it just makes things so hard PR-wise.
Yeah, well, the funny part about that is that now they have a second lawsuit where now the shareholders, apparently the investors, are alleging the company failed to raise potential regulatory issues stemming from the discriminatory culture.
Sure.
So now their investors are pissed and going after them. So I can't imagine that they're going to be having a good time for a while. I mean, This is pretty forefront. And the interesting thing is, I think this is more forefront, in my opinion, than the Ubisoft stuff. This is like big deal, especially right now, because this is like so forefront. And I think, like we discussed last time, because of the way they went about defending themselves and posting that statement the first time, I think that, I'll still contest that it was a bad idea, even if somebody would say it was a good idea. I think that backlash hit them really hard. I think that they're going to be having some issues, for a while. I mean, to have your investors file a lawsuit against you, that's awful, dude. I don't even think that happened in Ubisoft.
It's bad both ways, and it's like it makes people uneasy about the companies, and it's like good, let it be uneasy, because how many of these people, especially women, have been buried under all of this? And don't eat my headphone cables, Kirby, I need those. How many people have been buried under this, and they have had to be silent? Not for years, not for months, not even just at Ubisoft or Activision and that, but industry-wide for decades. This stuff has not been reported. So people are like, oh, it's all rosy and stuff. It's not. It hasn't been. It's been awful and ridiculous. And I don't remember if you were... 2 weeks ago, I don't remember if we were talking about Press Reset, where they're talking about how teams have to be built and then destroyed basically with and at the end of each game's development. And there's no way to build...
That.
Yeah, Jason Schreier's newest book, Press Reset, he talks about all of these companies and about how people basically move across the country. Orzine, welcome. And yes, this is Kirby. He's chilling here. When a AAA game starts, and he talks about indie games as well, like the struggle to get funding and stuff like that. But when a game spins up, people are moving across the country, and then the carpet will come out from underneath them pretty much immediately after the game releases, or even before if the company doesn't want it, if the publisher's like, we're good. Like, we don't need this game in our slate anymore. And there's no way to build a culture when you are constantly building up these teams of 100, 200, 500 people, and then as soon as the game is done, smashing it to bits, and then people are like trying to find new jobs. You know, they're building their families at the same time. They're getting married. They're having kids. They just bought a house. You know, how can you buy a house, settle in, when as soon as the game ships or before the game ships, they're like, yeah, we're closing this entire studio.
Yeah.
And that's what Press Reset is. And when you have all that built on this bed of toxic masculinity and nothing ever changes, it's like, what do you do? What kind of protections does anyone have? And then when you have sexual harassment claims like this, when you have toxic workplace complaints, that stuff kind of becomes like small and kind of out of the way when people are literally losing their jobs and their homes and their incomes and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the entire game industry, though, right? I mean, if you look at it, all of them seem to have a lot of the same issues and patterns. I mean, it's interesting because there's a video game critic. I know he was fairly popular. He worked for some of the, I want to say he worked for some of the bigger news outlets for video games. Jim Sterling, are you familiar with him?
Yeah.
He released a video, and in not so many words, and he said it. I can't recall how many times he said fuck the video game industry and fuck Blizzard. Like the effort was used so gratuitously that it was almost like he was using it to prove a point. And he was just talking about how bad it is in these game companies and what they do to their employees. So it's almost like it's shedding light on something that's just been very quiet, because
quiet and festering.
Well, it's interesting because think about the Weinstein case in the movie industry, right?
Right.
You'd have actors and actresses, and not just actresses, but actors being sexually harassed, like Terry Crews, coming out bravely to speak about it, because as a male, that's something that wouldn't normally be done.
Right. Brendan Fraser.
Yeah, exactly. They came out and discussed these things, frankly, and they weren't afraid to do it, which is awesome. Everyone shouldn't be afraid, but when it's your livelihood, like you said, right? It's your business. It's what you do to make sure that you can survive in the world. And you basically, have to like suck it up just so you have to deal with it, and then it just becomes trauma upon trauma upon trauma. But my point is the fact that movies have shifted, and it's interesting that now the game industry is starting to overtake the movie industry as far as consumed media. And so I think it's coming down to a point where there's going to be more of a microscope on those companies, and people are kind of looking more into that, I'm sure, as opposed to like when movie industries, it was like nobody really paid attention to them until the Me Too movement started, which in my opinion was great because it should be equality for everybody. Right. And I think now that's starting to trickle into the game industry, which is good, because if those are things that are happening within those environments, they need to be addressed and corrected, because it's disgusting that they would treat a minority or a sexual orientation or a gender indiscriminately. And I mean, it doesn't matter. And I know I've said this before, but it doesn't matter what you look like, where you come from, man. We're all just people. It doesn't matter where you come from. It's who you are now. And I think that a lot of people to this day, sadly, still believe that it's something else. So especially for women and how difficult it's been for them to progress, within, especially a male dominated, industry, which is gaming. It always has been male dominated.
The disparity is awful, and I wish Victoria were here. She'd definitely have some things to say about that. We're hoping
for sure.
Hoping for next week. It's been a little bit, but it's weird to see all of this stuff coming undone, and unfortunately there's also like a political aspect to it as well, where it's like if you weren't interested in it before, you're not interested in it now, and then it's just like then you can go post articles and retweet articles about the hazards of whistleblowing and the damage that causes to a brand. Like, fuck you. Like, what the fuck? Why would you say that out loud? And unfortunately, there's a cultural thing that people don't get until they get it. And until then, it's Sisyphean, and it's just, it's bad. And I'm glad that this stuff is coming to the surface. I'm glad that this stuff is being exposed. Finally.
Well, if it's the people who make the money that that require your fealty in order to continue making the money, right? So they have to do whatever they can do to continue making money. And I mean, businesses all about making money. So it's almost like they make you feel like if you don't bow to me and you are not happy under my boot, then you're dispensable. And that's basically what it seems to come down to. It's if my pockets aren't getting lined, then you need to go. And then hey, Naughty Dog, right? Insomniac, this person did this and this, don't hire them. They get blackballed. And it happens to so many of them. And that's the sad thing.
It truly does.
Yeah,
it's really weird
thing. Like the same thing happens in any other company. It's almost like when you work in a location, say you worked in like a retail job, and they'll be like, well, we communicate with every other store, so if you just try to transfer, we'll tell them what a problem you are. Like, it's that kind of mentality. It's just, it happens. It's pervasive, and it's unfair to people who are hardworking, who are like, you know what, I'm tired of this shit, and I'm not going to eat your shit anymore. And then they're like, well, guess what? Not only did you eat my shit, now if you try and go anywhere else, I'm going to tell them that you are not a team player.
And unfortunately, and I was actually talking with like last week or something like that with a friend of mine. We were talking about, like, say you're getting hired at a new job, and the new job calls the old job, and the old job trash talks you. Now that's illegal, but what are you going to do about it?
Exactly.
You have the legal defense. You are in the right. But what are you gonna like go to small claim? Are you gonna hire a lawyer? Good luck. I mean, you're trying to get a job.
$1 billion company, right? You're gonna go to war. Yeah, right.
But even a small, like, not even just the big companies, like not even the the Bobby Koticks and them, it's the, like, just even local employers or something, that are just like trash talking locally, like retailer to retailer, something like that. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna you can't hire a lawyer. Lawyers are expensive. You're not. Are you gonna sit there and study law? Like, law is complicated. That's why there are lawyers. So there's like very little recourse unless you can get basically a whole bunch of affected people on board to come up with something or start something viral, essentially. Because otherwise, you get plugged up and then you just get drowned out by the people who are already in charge. Orzine's talking about how these upper tier folks, like, kind of can't live in their own microcosms anymore. There's a way that the message is going to get out if it's strong enough.
Well, yeah, and that's just, I think it has to do with the believability or even the social atmosphere and their willingness to accept that person. Yeah. Because if you would have been 10 years ago, like we discussed before, then this would have probably been a minor story. I mean, realistically, that's probably what would have happened. But because of the Me Too movement and a lot of the things that have happened in the last few years, there's more attention to it. So people are more, I think, open to listen to those kind of things and not feel the backlash or feel like their voice isn't heard, because for so long they weren't. And that's all part of the society's progression, you know, as it moves forward. Just my feeling on it is it's just that I think it's, as a society, we're more accepting of understanding people and hearing them out, as opposed to, you know, undermining their voices.
Absolutely.
Or making them digital.
Yeah, Yahoo correctly points out in the chat here, arbitration clauses that keep class action lawsuits from happening should not be legal for large companies. I would argue they shouldn't be legal for small ones either.
True. No, I agree.
Yeah, and I mean, but then at the same time, when you're working for, gosh, I'm trying to think, because I do know smaller employers that do put arbitration clauses in like the job offer to ensure that you don't freaking go out of your way. And he brings up Riot, which was going through all of this a few years ago as well, with their CEO who would go around and like fart in people's faces and just like be genuinely so disgusting,
right?
Yeah, it's ludicrous. Like what kind of place?
At the situation would happen, but the fact that is something that's acceptable, and that person thought I could do this and get away with it. It's
because he's boss. Because he's the boss of this like the biggest game ever at the time,
and still huge. Your face.
Yeah, and like, what are you gonna do?
Pink eye. And it's just like
I'm the COO or CEO or C-suite dude of Riot.
I'm the dude, bruh. But fart in your face, you're gonna like it. Yeah.
Here's a volleyball, bro.
Let's go, bruh.
Yeah, let's go, bruh. Man, did you get your protein shake? Oh yeah, let's go. God, I love.
My hand, throw in your face. Smell that, bro. It's ridiculous, and that's basically the culture. It's the white male protagonist.
Yes,
it's just disgusting.
The dude, bro. The dude, bro, who like the guy who bullied you in high school became popular.
Wedgie, bruh.
Yeah, or they were the nerdy.
But no, it's the nerd who got bullied by the bully, who then themselves become the dude, bro, that bullies the next person.
That's exactly what it's just vicious. Like, man, I can emulate who that person was, and now I'm going to be the worst person that I can possibly be.
They rain hell on me, I'm raining hell on everybody else, and that's basically what happens.
Yeah, it's freaking trash. Ugh.
But some people, they don't learn. They don't learn from it and become better people. They learn it and they use it as fuel to then torture other people. And that's the sad thing, dude. I mean,
and I've heard compliments about the we're going to plug here because this is what this is. The Nth Review Discord, I've heard, is a very non-toxic place to have discussions, and people really enjoy it for that. So you don't have people coming in and dude broing it up or being just really fucking weird about women and
like dude bro.
Yeah, seriously. Socially awkward nerds fueled by contempt for society and an 8-figure salary. Yeah.
Oh yeah, man! Once you get a little taste of that power, and oh my god, I'm not a nerd. I become the dude, bro. It's like
when you can buy a McLaren, you can fart in people's faces. That's.
Is that how the rule of?
That's how it works.
The rich. No.
That's how it works. Did you know that?
Peasant, and then skirt away, and then their license plate says super rich. Yeah, no, that's how that works.
SPRRICH.
Super rich.
Super duper rich. My God. What other gaming discussions here did you have on the tablet here? Because there was one topic I want to experiment with something, but I want you to.
Ooh, experiments are always good.
Yeah.
Other than that, just nothing really. Like, I mean, there's this
has been developing.
Yeah, we've discussed other things that were coming out, like Like I already told you, like only game that I'm actually kind of like really interested. I'm gonna probably end up streaming playing here pretty quick is Back for Blood, which is like if anybody loves Left 4 Dead, it's almost everyone's saying it's like a spiritual successor to Left 4 Dead. So I'm really excited. I played like a couple rounds before we started.
Because it's Turtle Rock. Right. Yes, it's the Left 4 Dead peeps.
That and what's speculated is they left Valve because they didn't want to develop another Left 4 Dead.
Right.
And that's basically, I think is what people were saying was like, well, they just went to do, the next game, which is, exactly what they probably should do. I mean, if because Valve has such a good track record of releasing games and in a timely fashion, why would they stay?
Right. And because they went independent after doing Left 4 Dead 2, and then wasn't the staff like working on something else within Valve?
It wasn't Evolve, was it?
I think maybe Evolve? That came later. I mean, because that was afterward, and then they signed with 2K to do Evolve.
Let me double check it. That game, it's sad that game is not still around. Like, that game was actually good. A lot of people just... I remember
people were like, it was pretty immediate. Like, this is the big flaw with this game, and like, it's not, they can't easily fix it.
Pay to win? I think it was a pay to win thing too, wasn't it?
It was just kind of the asymmetry of the, like, people, like, the party of 4 kind of just wandering around the entire level for the entire match and then never running into the dude and then the match ending. Like, they think there was a good bit of that.
Yeah, because that was the last game they made before this one, so...
Yeah. So maybe they've been working on that, because who's publishing...
Back for Blood? It is actually, I'm looking at it right now. It is, I'll tell you in just a second. I had it up, but no, I don't. Game page, store page. It is being published by, I can't go to that. Hold on. I tried to go to their page and it didn't let me. Looks like it is being published by Warner Brothers Interactive.
That's interesting.
Right? Actually, I should have known that because I got that beta key today, and I had to actually go create a Warner Brothers account just to play the game. And I thought, interesting.
I thought that was interesting. When I played Watch Dogs 2 the other day, like a couple weeks ago, having to go through the Steam and then the Uplay to get that going. Like, everyone in their own bloody launchers, like, oh my god, can everyone just chill out a bit?
Everyone wants to be able to, push it out everywhere and have their company be branded that way and sell your data.
I want your delicious bits. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and but yeah, that's about it. I've just been playing that, are kind of playing a little bit, enjoying that, gonna see how that goes. And then the only other game I'm excited for is Deathloop, which looks pretty good.
Which went gold today.
Yes.
And that is a PlayStation, PS4, PS5 exclusive.
And the funny thing is it's Bethesda Softworks who's the publisher of that.
Who is owned by Microsoft.
Weird, right? But what's funny is it's not a PS5 exclusive. It's PS5 and Windows. So you can get it on PC.
Sure, yeah.
That's probably the deal they probably made with them, I'm sure. Because I doubt we'll ever see a Bethesda exclusive on PS5, like, ever. Like, that's just a way.
No, I think those days they're over. But I mean, you could see that from a mile. I remember when they did all the E3 showcase stuff. And they're like, but the game's coming out on. They said that they said at a point like. They'd be available on other platforms, and it's like, buddy, they're owned by Microsoft. Like, get a computer, get an Xbox. Like, they're really trying. They would put an Xbox app on the PlayStation if Sony would let them. Like, that's
oh, for sure.
Dude, that's the direction they're going. So,
but trying to squeeze any game on PlayStation is difficult. I've heard that they're probably one of the hardest platforms to actually get some games through. That's what actually keeps some games from going out.
Like certification or just the hardware?
Yeah. Just certification in general, or trying to get the game pushed through. There was one of there's a ARPG I love. It's called Grim Dawn.
Sounds familiar.
And Grim Dawn was fantastic. It's probably one of the best ARPGs I've ever played. I think it flew under radar. Nobody really played it. They did. It has a cult following, but it wasn't as big as it should have been. So they released it on Xbox, but they didn't release it on PlayStation because they said it was so difficult to work with their certifiers and the people that are allowed to go on the platform that they just abandoned it completely, which would have been huge. That's a fun game. I would have loved it, but no.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
That's because, like, I remember with the PS4, Sony was reaching out and they were trying to be, hey, indie devs, come here. We've got all, we're selling three times as many consoles as Xbox, so come to us. We will be your platform. So that's very interesting.
But I think it's only indie devs that probably had the money to give them, to be honest with you. Smaller teams might have more difficulty with that, or maybe they didn't have connections. Who knows?
Yeah. And when you've got 3 people on your team, whatever cert because even when you go on Xbox, there are cert requirements. You gotta do some shit to get it go. Well, I take that back, because people are doing like they're throwing emulators on Xboxes because they pay the $20 or $25 for developer access, and it's like, well, I guess I'm playing Super Mario on my Xbox Series X, and that's and Microsoft's like, well,
that's exciting. I'll do that. Yeah, that's about it for me.
Cool.
That's all I was.
I wanted to before we get into this, I wanted to talk about I've been working on a video for a little bit, and I released it this past Tuesday, which is why we didn't have a green room. Green room next Tuesday, though, barring any thing. But I was wrong about City Skylines and SimCity. Released on Tuesday. I am so happy with the result. I'm so happy with the response. I am super happy. Why did I lose a subscriber there? Of course. There's like a little fringe that happens. It's really funny. But I'm happy to everyone who's seen it. And if you have seen it, thank you. If you're going to see it, thank you. Watch it to the end. And like and subscribe and all that fun stuff. But I'm really happy with that. It's one of the quickest videos that I've put out, partially because I'd already had a lot of that content or thoughts in my head. But also I've been like really streamlining processes here and there to get it made, get those reviews out. And the next review is going to be for Deus Ex Human Revolution. And I'm thrilled about that as well, because and I know you've probably got some experience with this too, is that when you have a backlog of content that you can call back to, it's really cool, because now I've got Deus Ex, the original, which is my most popular video, and then I have Deus Ex Human Revolution, Mankind Divided, that I can also draw back to and be like, okay, I've already had these thoughts about this. So when I go into an hour-long, 2-hour-long video, I already have these thoughts in here. And I have like these things that I can call and respond to different things that I did in those previous videos and access them. And that's going to be great going forward, because with the other videos I want to do later this year, it's just kind of building up this repertoire, essentially. And one thing, I do this all as kind of this really big segue to say, if you were starting a gaming YouTube channel, or if you were starting a YouTube channel today, what would you do? And how would you try to succeed? And because we talked about this a little bit beforehand, but when I
play Among Us. I'm memeing.
Drop the mic. There we go. Play.
I'm memeing.
A Fall Guys, is that still a big thing?
No, that's not relevant.
Can we stream anymore. Minecraft? And I also bring this up partially because I'm on Reddit, and I do a lot of I surf a lot of the subreddits where people are like, man, how do I get started? Like, what do I do? And There are people like they're starting to stream. They're doing videos. They're doing Minecraft videos. Do I do face cam? Do I do like what do I make? How do I get out there? And I think the first thing to do is just put something out there.
Sure. I can
think,
see that.
And you may have like you may be chasing popular games. I will say from experience, just from what I learned in the past year, is that I didn't realize that people were excited for my content because I played retro games. Like I played old PC games, and it took me basically 6.5 years to figure that out. Because when you're trying to cover, if there's the streaming content, live content, and edited content. Mm-hmm. And when you're doing edited content, if you're spending hours and hours producing this stuff, the big thing there is if you are not a big outlet, no one cares what you think about the latest and greatest.
No, not at all.
And honestly, you may not even care about it because that game may just be a dud. It may get all of the advertising or something today, but in 6 months, it's gone forever. And you never hear from it again. Like Watch Dogs. Watch Dogs 2. Watch Dogs Legion. You know, just all of these different games.
Well, yeah. And I think a lot of it comes down to, like you said, you can chase trends and try and go for success there. But like I was talking about before, it's what are you doing different within the sphere that's setting you apart from everybody else? I mean, you and I were having this discussion before we started the podcast, is you have to be able to do something that not everybody else is doing. Everyone else is playing Warzone, right? When Fortnite was popular, everyone's jumping on Fortnite. I don't know how many times I would go on to Twitch or go on to, like the streaming platforms, and you'd see the people who had already made their niche within the community with all the subs, and then you would slowly start trickling down to everybody else. And then the ones that were closest to them were usually, and I'm not trying to... Now, I got to be really careful how I say this, because I'm not trying to be rude or objectify or say anything else, but scantily clad women playing Fortnite with their cam almost bigger than Fortnite, right?
Right.
So, and then you would have everybody else. So it's almost like there is a sect of, streamers who try to use different things as a means to gain viewers. And it doesn't necessarily have to be women when I say this. It could be guys wearing a tank top or like doing something different with their face. I mean,
hot tub streams.
Yeah. But you look at somebody like, now I'm going to use this as an example because I think what this streamer does is better than almost every streamer out there. Like in true entertainment content form, whether you like him or not, Dr. Disrespect has changed streaming in the way it works. The production value he puts into his streams is incredible. He has a team of creative designers who design him 3D model backgrounds. They do his thumbnails. They do all these cool things that he interacts with and stuff like that. So you look at that and you see that level, then that's definitely going to shoot you forward because you're doing something different. You're a character. You have sunglasses, a mustache, and a mullet, right? And everyone will tune into that. But he found his niche by doing that.
Yeah.
So I think
just have a team of 12.
Yeah, that's all he did. Well, when he started off, he didn't have that. He did everything himself.
Right.
You know what I mean? But he tried something different. He tried something that nobody had done before. He's a character. When he goes off camera and he takes off the black mullet and the sunglasses, he's just, guy being normal guy, right? So it's about entertainment.
And it's about unique entertainment because you can it breaks my heart when people really want to succeed. They've got that enthusiasm. They're really excited about it because every study now is saying that the most popular occupation that kids want to get into these days is to be a YouTuber. It's not astronaut, it's not president,
streamer.
it's streamer, it's YouTuber, and you get these people that, and I know they're younger, and I know they're definitely some that are older too. They get on there and they think that they can just turn on their OBS or they can go on their console and hit the stream button, and they can have their face cam or not, and then like all they have to do is just play games, and all of a sudden they're Captain Sparkles and they're driving a McLaren in a month. All they have to do is wait for YouTube to roll in with subscribers. And so you'll see these memes where it's like, yeah, so thank you for watching my stream, like 0 viewers. And it's like you can't just be a streamer. You can't just play games. You can't just play those games, and you can't just play just those games. You have to be an all-arounder. You have to learn so many different skills. You have to promote. You have to talk to people.
Networking
you can't just hit the button and go. You can't do it.
No, and that's what it comes down to, is that you have to understand that the bigger names right now did things to make them big. And case in point, and hell, why not? I'll take a shot at one of the big boys. So when Markiplier first started out, he would post his videos in Reddit forums, and with his gameplay and scary gameplay and stuff like that. That's what jump started him, was that he was taking and he was pushing himself into different media spaces to try and put himself out there. Mm-hmm. He was playing the algorithm game with popular games, like every single one of them did, because you look at videos on YouTube that's like death of a channel, or death of this person, or death of the rise and fall of this person, and you'll see there's Minecrafters who just didn't follow the trend, and they just went down the hole and just kept going and didn't try and innovate and do something new. And PewDiePie, as much as people dislike him, actually was able to. Yes, exactly. But what he did was he did Let's Plays, and then he did shorter form content, and then he did gameplay videos. But then he moved into more commentary, more talking about different things, plus reaction. So all of those combined allowed him to maintain his growth and continue and keep on that same trajectory of moving forward.
Right, because he does a lot of, like, I don't get to watch. I don't want to watch a lot of PewDiePie most of the time. It's certainly it's an acquired taste. It's an acquired taste. It really is. Yeah, and I don't begrudge him really, because I think he's, like, aside from a few bad jokes he's made, like, I don't really hold it against him. Yeah. But he had to adapt, and he does a lot of different things. And he's surrounded by a team that can, like, take just one of his raw streams or something and convert it, edit it into content that people will want to see, essentially. Yeah. And when you've got 100 and, like, I don't know how many subscribers.
120, or it was 121 point. It could have gone down. Who knows?
Yeah, because he was up in that, like, the T series. But he when you have that many people, you can do so much stuff. It's ridiculous. Like, what's...
Well, yeah. But I'll tell you right now, a lot of these
110
new streamers, 110.
110.
It actually has gone down. I think it used to be higher than that. A lot of these new people that try and stream and do all these other things will fail, and they will continue to fail until they realize there's something that is called SEO. There's something called understanding marketing and branding, and they will never move past that until they understand that. You have to be able to brand yourself a certain way. You have to be able to market yourself a certain way. You have to be able to play the search engine optimization, where if you have your video linked to multiple places, like from Facebook to Twitter to everywhere else, and it gets more engagement through that, it sees it and the algorithm takes it and it continues going. So I remember when tagging used to be everything, and then having your video be a certain time frame was everything, and it was just they changed the algorithm. I don't even know if you can
access that anymore. Of like this is when your subscribers watch stuff. I remember seeing that like a year ago or something like that. But you have those plugins like TubeBuddy and let us have access to all of your YouTube stuff, and pretty much all they do, unless you pay them money, is here's all these tags. Well, tags don't mean anything anymore, so says YouTube. So it's like, but what they do is they let you print out those little graphics when you hit milestones.
Well, you have 93,000 views, by the way.
Yeah, I'm really close to 100. I'm really excited.
I was going to say I just by looking at because I continue using TubeBuddy just because the tools it has are kind of cool because it'll help you find correct tags and search the tags, and it allows you to do certain options and save options. It's pretty useful, and it'll tell you your SEO score. Mm-hmm. And it'll tell you on your where it's liked, if it's been mentioned in tweets. Like, there's a lot of things that you can look at other people's videos, so you can use it as a tool to look at another video that's trended and see what they've done. It's interesting because it shows you all of their tags. So it's really crazy to see what certain videos are tagged a certain way. And it's almost like if you just mention PewDiePie, you can tag that because it's relevant to the video. You just mentioned Markiplier, you can tag that, and then if people search for those guys, your video may possibly come up within that SEO and be watched. So that's what a lot of the tagging is doing. So but I don't know,
at the same time, people can get really buried in that stuff, and there's like,
you shouldn't overdo it.
But you can go into, and I see that a lot of times from people too, is people are sitting there and they're watching every single number. They're like, has anyone noticed that their RPM is going down over like the past week? And it's like, buddy, you don't do anything to affect RPM. Those are auction rates. They're handled by YouTube. You have basically nothing to do that unless you switch your niche entirely. Like, you're worrying about things you have no control over, or you have little control over, unless you are like fundamentally changing your entire content. And it's easy to get stuck in, especially when you release a video and it doesn't hit, and you tried your best and you put in a lot of hours and you did a lot of research, and you come out and you promote it and no one shows up, and you're like,
was it good? Were you entertaining?
Did
you fulfill the need for the person?
But
was the content they're consuming, in their opinion, high quality or good enough to be watched? So those are the questions.
Those are the questions. And sometimes though, a lot of times though, people don't understand that luck is involved. Like, there are things that are completely out of your control. The algorithm does what it does. So there are successful YouTubers that are like, that video didn't do anything until like 8 months later, and then all of a sudden randomly it gets picked up, and that's like Veritasium. He didn't get hit big until he was just randomly mentioned by Vsauce, and he'd been producing videos for years at that point. And it's like, that's completely out of your hands. It just randomly happens.
Is it out of your hands?
There is a lot there. So you can control it up to a point, right? So there's the making content, right? That's step one. Mm-hmm. Making good content. Step two, don't make garbage. Don't make the, randomly looking at Field of Minecraft and then click, hey, so I'm going to play YouTube Minecraft today. So we're going to build a house, and then just like 3 hours of that. So you have to do better than that. You have to have a good thumbnail. You have to have a good eye-catching title to your video, right? Mm-hmm. You have to have all these things. You can set up all the tags you want. You can set up all these things. You can look at all your analytics, and you can promote. But if you've got 50 subscribers, if you have 5 subscribers, if you have 500 subscribers, there's a bit of that where the YouTube algorithm, it's not a meritocracy. It's not just you produce good content and then all of a sudden you get views. And people don't understand that. Stuff can happen to you randomly. And so you can, despite all your best efforts, despite all the things you've learned, come out with a dud, and that it may eventually turn something like my Deus Ex review that came out, did okay, like probably best performing of my channel, and then 3 weeks in, randomly, fucking garden hose of just like viewers and subs, and just for days and days, and then that fed to other videos, and just like wow. And the only reason I'm even here right now is because the algorithm picked up my Deus Ex video 3 weeks in. And this happens for so many people. And so you have all these people that are like, they've become successful They have 20,000 subscribers, 100,000 subscribers, 500,000 or something. And they're like, yeah, man, it was just in the SEO. It was just in the, the thumbnail or something. But that's the survivorship bias. So for every one of those people, there's 100 people that made good content, well-produced content, and then gave up.
Well, and I think a lot of that has to do with, and I understand the ideal of wherewithal to continue pushing through that, but it really does come down to that. Like, I mean, if you are smart enough to capitalize on trends, you can get wherever you want to go. But that's
right.
what it comes down to is trends, right? So you'd go to, like, say, YouTube trending page, see what's trending, and then you would maybe put a video in there at the same time, so that is currently trending, and then you might get picked up. So I think that there's a defeatist mentality in that. Like, I've never cried and complained and said, I should be bigger. Why isn't everybody coming to watch my content? I think I'm hilarious. Like, I've never said that. I've always thought, what can I do to bring more people in? What content can I create to get people to stay, invest in me, and continue watching the content that I produce? And with me, it was more a scheduling an issue and not being consistent, which I'm working on. And that's the biggest driving force is, what can you do to improve? What can you do to get better? Because a lot of those guys will tell you when they first started out, it was slow because they were new. They were still figuring things out. But as it progressed, they got better and better at the craft,
right,
and creating content and creating those things. So it's just that ramp up. You know what I mean? It's what is relevant to what people want to watch. You said something very interesting in the retro games, because nostalgia is huge. Nostalgia is really big. People will watch a lot of those things because you look at AVGN and you see what he does with, old games, because people are nostalgic for that. They want to see that. And that's actually a verified category that actually will draw people in. And I think that's what it comes down to is, if you're watching what people want to watch, you know what I mean? Like, are you creating content that somebody wants to watch, or is it content you yourself want to watch, but maybe not everybody else wants to see? So it's almost like you have to market it in a way that people want to watch it.
I think there's also like the you can make good content that people want to see, but then finding that audience, like wherever they're at, that might not randomly come upon that. Because last year, and of course I'm speaking anecdotally, last year when I was out of work, I was doing weekly videos, and I knew that they had to be at least 10 minutes, so they were like 15 to 20 minutes or so. And I was doing, when I started, it was 2 a week, and they were much shorter. And then I caught on, I got wise, like, okay, I can't do 3-minute videos. I have to do 10, 15, 20-minute videos. Okay, no problem. That allows me to at least get in a headspace where I can think about this stuff. And I was actually pushing back the Deus Ex review over and over again, because I would be trying to play like the newest games, or trying to tackle the newest topics. Like, let me go back here. Like, the Command & Conquer remake happened. Did you ever play Command & Conquer?
Yes.
By the way, yeah. Did you play the remake?
No.
Good remake.
I didn't have desire. I didn't have a desire to play that one because RTSs. I played StarCraft and some other ones, but it wasn't like my cup of tea. More
sure.
RPG guy.
Yeah, completely understood. Yeah, and unfortunately,
Yeah.
some parts of that game have not aged well.
I'm sure.
But here I am, like, let's see, gaming content. Grand Theft Auto 6 needs this. City Skylines is a terrible set. Actually, that was a really popular video. Why you need to make a roguelike? What the fuck is Fortnite?
You baited that one. Let's just be honest.
Yeah, I totally did. Yeah. I totally 100%. You're not wrong at all. Sucking in multiplayer. The end of E3, when E3 was like before COVID. Well, I guess that was just a year ago. So COVID, but the end of E3, being an Xbox fanboy, etc., etc. The top 5 strategy games of all time, PC strategy games of all time, and some did pretty all right, but like some of these are only in retrospect or over a long haul did they kind of like maybe get a few hits, because like the end of E3, 107. I suck at multiplayer games, 66, but then City Skylines is a terrible SimCity, 11,000. What the fuck is Fortnite? 90 views. It's like Satisfactory was another one because I was playing that, and everyone loves Satisfactory. Everyone loves Satisfactory. 7.1 thousand. So it's like, or
I just started playing that recently. It's really good.
It's amazing, yeah. And then so I'd have a critique of Deus Ex, 26,000 now, but it was like 5 back then or 1. And then the week after, PS5 and Xbox Series X games are too expensive, $70. And 203 views now a year later. And it's so you can be I have done the ambulance chasing of like what are people talking about, and sometimes it worked, sometimes it did not, and it honestly it did it enough times or is like I literally asked my Patreon subscribers or even just my fans, I was like, what do you want me to do? And they're like, make long videos. And I'm like, I want to make long videos. And they're like, I know, so make the long videos. So it's like, okay. So I've come back and forth and stuff like that. After Thief, 5-hour video, which now has 6.4 thousand views. Thank you to everyone who watched 5 hours of the Thief series. Really, you helped validate half a year of work there. Immediately afterward, put in Hard Space Shipbreaker, which I admit is not a popular game at all, and it's an early access, 230 views. So it was like, man, tough. That is so tough, because every time I do a review, it's like a swing for the fences, and every time I do a shorter video, it's like one-armed bandit. Like maybe you get lemons. Right. Who knows? And I know that the consistency is a huge piece of just getting content out there, letting the YouTube algorithm see it and stuff like that. But it's like, to what end? And how much do you put? How much spirit do you put into that, or how much failure do you put up with before you're like, fuck this?
Mm-hmm. And I think it all comes down to, does anybody care what you have to say, Nick?
Right.
Does anybody get engaged in what you have to say? And I think that your videos are great and they're really good, but I think it comes down to, like you said, it's hard because you want people to be invested in you and want your opinion on things, and you want them to appreciate that. And that's what it comes down to. Those are the hard questions that we have to ask ourselves: is do people want to listen to me? Do they care about what I have to say? And that's the part of being a content creator, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. That's the thing where you have to look at it and say, am I entertaining enough in this video to keep somebody here to watch me? And I think that's what I myself fall into that trap of, will I engage that audience and will I keep somebody there? But that's what it comes down to. And I think that you're growing, which is great. And I think people are seeing your content and it's growing it more, which is great, which is good. So it's
really cool to see that happen.
Yeah. So for you, it's a matter of you get frustrated when videos don't do well, and you're putting your best effort into it, and it sucks when somebody doesn't validate that effort. I feel that, trust me.
Yeah.
And it's a hard thing to do, but I think it's just continuing with consistency and continue going with it is the biggest thing, because there's a lot of streamers and even content creators on YouTube that are pissed shit scared to ever not post a video for 2 weeks.
God, I know, yeah.
The relevancy, right? So a lot of streamers have anxiety about taking vacations because they're worried that when they come back, the audience may not be there anymore and they've gone to find somebody else.
Right.
And I think that's where it comes down to is, are you willing to dedicate the time and effort to do it? And if you don't have that time and effort, it's cool. Treat it as a hobby, but you should never look at it as a career until you can get past that point of, being consistent. And that's the biggest thing. Like, if you're working 2 jobs and you're trying to be a content creator, it's going to be hard.
It's going to be so hard.
You know how hard it is with one job. I knew how hard. Dude, I was working 50, 60 hours trying to content create a few years ago, making game videos, dude. And that was super hard. Like, I would just cut up videos and throw them up, like, as often as I could, trying to push the algorithm to get me relevant.
Right.
But the thing was that content great? Maybe not, but I was pushing out the content, years ago. And then coming back now, I was going to start pushing out more content and being, daily videos, but even that isn't feasible because I didn't feel like the content was good enough. And I think that's one of the things that you have to look at and be your own worst critic sometimes.
Yeah.
And really think about what didn't do well, what did well, what can I do better? Like,
internalize feedback and lessons. Because honestly, like if the only people seeing your content are friends and family, you're not getting the honest feedback. I say that as someone who like in making
so good. You did such a good job.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like,
that's how like Infinite Lives came about. Is like, I put together this documentary with all of my friends' help, but I could not just get like just someone to just honestly say that it sucked or that this was wrong or something like that. So now through the lens of being 12 years older, I can be like, man, I would do this now. I would do this now, now. But then I think
experience.
Exactly. But if I did that today, I know it would be like kind of this bomb, or maybe it would be surprise hits. Who knows? I don't even know. But I've got all the footage in there. I want to work on it. It's something I'd be really passionate about revisiting this content. But like, who would want to watch a recut of a documentary about E3 2009?
You'd be surprised. I'm sure there'd be some south for it.
Yeah, and it would take however long to make, and I don't know. I'll have to think about it. I'd maybe just mix it the fuck up. Who knows? And that's another thing is the experimentation is like you may follow trends. You may be doing this. You may think, gosh, this is the biggest thing in the world. Why am I not getting any attention? And you may make a video about something random that you had not planned or put that much thought into, and it blows up. Yeah, that is kind of what happened to me.
That can happen, and it's just you have to look at what's trending and all the other things if you really want to like grow, which is hard. But the thing is it's like the way you have to think about it is, do you want to get big fast or do you want to grow over time? And there's a lot of channels that want to just get big immediately and just have all the success in the world. And then you have to look at it as sometimes it's going to take longer to get there and get your name out there, to get more consistency, to build trust and, to build trust with your fans, build trust with YouTube and the algorithm. Because when people scream about free speech on YouTube, they completely forget about the fact that it is a business that serves ads to people. And your content is their business to get advertisers
to buy ads against.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's where when these people like, I don't understand why YouTube demonetized my video where I said the F word like 30 times. I wonder why. Or all I was talking about was, a controversial topic. Why did they do this? It's like, you should know these things already. There's a reason that videos now, which didn't back then, will censor too much profanity. And YouTube's cool with a little bit of it, but if you go too far,
or if you do it in the first like 5 minutes or something, they're like
30 seconds.
Yeah.
First 30 seconds.
Yeah. They're like,
but
no.
even if it's pervasive through the video, they will still ding you for it, because I'm sure you already know about this, where when you upload a video, it gives you the option to rate the video yourself.
Yes.
I don't know.
The checks.
Okay, do you have that? Okay, because some people don't have that because they don't rate their videos correctly. But I have that because I've always rated my videos honestly. Is there some light profanity? Absolutely.
Yeah.
If there was a bunch of profanity, I would mark it as such, because there are still ads for some of the more controversial or some of the other topics that aren't for other ads. But that's just your honesty with YouTube and them understanding how that works.
And those are the people that are like, well, and you can see the extended version of this on Nebula,
or my website, or you can see it here.
They've got their ways around it.
but that's what some people do is they'll have the unedited version on Patreon, which
Yeah.
could be a perk for some patrons.
Well,
Just,
with Patreon, the only way to like privately provide those is through Vimeo, and you have to have because you cannot like say you have a
link that people can watch through Patreon.
Yeah, if you hook up Patreon to Vimeo, you can do videos that are exclusively to those patrons. Like if you do like YouTube does not have that kind of access with Patreon. So the way basically that everyone does patron exclusive videos is they put it unlisted, so anyone who has the URL can access it, patron or not. But patrons are like, no, this is content for me, so they're not going to sit there and like spread the URL around, because who uses Vimeo unless you're in an art house cinema or you're a college student or something like that. And this was all different years ago. Remember like blip.tv and all those other video services, not that long ago, vid.me, where you could upload stuff like that. But without YouTube scale, there's no competition. You have to be good on YouTube for edited content, and basically you have to be good on Twitch with streamed content. And there's really not a lot of options in and around there.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that's what it comes down to, man. I think it's just a matter of just being realistic with your goals and understanding that it's a process, man. It takes time. It takes time to do anything. And it's just the amount of hard work and dedication you're willing to put in. And if you can handle that, then you can do it. And and I think a lot of people get frustrated. Like they're like trying to find the magic, fix for getting them to be huge. And that there isn't one. There really isn't one, unless you're well connected.
Yeah.
Unless
money.
No bigger content creators, unless you've somehow paid a large content creator to give you a shout out, or you somehow go on there, with them. I mean, who knows? I don't know if that works or if that's something that's been done, but it's just, there's just so many factors to it, but I firmly believe if you provide good quality content on a consistent schedule, dude, you can grow. It's just, it has to be something that somebody wants to watch, and that's what it comes down to. Because if somebody doesn't want to watch you playing Minecraft quietly like this the whole time, you're like playing Minecraft and you're not saying anything, you're just looking at the screen.
The commentary free face cam. Like, what in the world are you even doing?
Exactly. Why? You might as well take the face cam off, turn off the microphone, and just put it as no commentary.
No commentary, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, why are you even bother? I actually gave that feedback. It's like, dude, you're not doing anything in your face. You're not enticing people,
right?
And like, what feedback are you getting that's saying that's a good idea to just sit there silently and not do anything? And you hit on a really good point of, what do I want to do with YouTube? Why am I doing this? Because I assure you, and I wanted to, because Orzine brought up, like, he says, I ask myself, am I streaming at least twice a week? If yes, then good enough. And but to what end? Like, how many people just turn on their stream to stream, like, for fun? I guarantee it's not a whole lot of people. They want it to become, they want a number to go up.
Fame and clout and money.
Fame, clout, or even validation. Like, they want something. Maybe they not want a McLaren, but it would be cool to, like, make a few bucks and afford something nice every month or something like that. And your motivation for doing it can steer so much. I see so many people, especially ones that are starting out. There's really two of these people. There's I started 2 months ago and I already have 600,000 subscribers, and it's like, okay, all right, well, good for you. You did the right whatever you did to get that many subscribers immediately. And then there's the people who they see what other people do, and they're like, I can copy that and then make money. And so they're doing the TikTok compilations and then not adding commentary. They're not transforming it in any way, which is the big component of fair use. So all of a sudden they're like, I put years into this channel and YouTube banned it. What happened? All my content was stolen, basically, and I have no remorse.
Well, that makes me laugh because a lot of the things they were talking about is YouTube going after the Twitch React channels, because they'll literally sit there and just be like eating their food and watching a video, and it's not adding anything to the conversation. It's not transforming that content. It's just they're like, it's like they're babysitting their viewers while they eat food. So, and honestly, I'll tell you right now, I think eating food on stream is completely rude. Like, I am one of those people. Like, turn off your camera, eat your food, which I'm fine with. If they would turn their camera off and they ate their food, I'm okay with that. But it's just like, so are people like paying to watch you eat food? Like, that's not entertaining to me.
Is this a mukbang thing? Like,
well, you're not Nikado Avocado, okay? I'm so glad I was able to fit him in somewhere.
Yes.
But the funny thing is, and I think you were just discussing it and you hit on it, is why do you do this? If you're doing this for money clout and all this other stuff, you're going to burn out. It's just like they say that if you don't love what you do, you're going to end up like hating it eventually. Like, if you don't enjoy doing it, if you're not doing this to entertain people, to make somebody, feel better, to inform them, to change their view, or to, maybe see a different view, then why do you do it? Or if it doesn't make somebody laugh or somebody else, get joy out of it. You know what I mean? If like, I'm here for the views, the clout, and the money. That's all I want. I want to be popular. I mean, then you
I
can
want
go
to
do
be
that
PewDiePie.
somewhere else.
But
that's the trap that people fall into.
I want to be Paul Logan.
They see all of the great, cool things that their streamer has. Like we were just discussing earlier, streamers and content creators flexing their new car they just bought. I'm this huge streamer who's got a bunch of tattoos, and I just bought a Lamborghini. Look how awesome I am. I just feel like it comes down to another content creator on this platform, Rice Gum, who used to flex on everybody all the time, right?
Right.
He started out, it's an interesting story. If you ever go back and watch some of the documentaries on him, he started out super humble to people, followed him and all this other stuff. And then slowly I got Gucci. I got a Gucci shirt, $500. I got a Gucci, jacket, $600. And then it's like you're flexing on your fans. So to me, it just feels like you're not appreciating your fans when you do stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, do you really have to show all those things? Like, do you really want to create a brand where all you do is flex on your fans? But
some people that's culture. That's a culture.
That would be a question like for you, Nick. Why do you do this? You know what I mean? You would ask yourself, why would I do this? And that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you get so big, I think you can lose perspective. I'm not that big, so I'm not losing perspective yet. But I mean, I make the art. That's like, I said it in a video because I did one of those "woe is me" videos a couple years ago, and I've like made it public and brought it back and in and back. It's like, I don't want to sound whiny, but when I did the calculation at some point, and to do until I got my first check from YouTube. I had $4.91 in AdSense money from back before the adpocalypse. Because you and I started our channels about the same time, and back then you could, so long as you were online, you could make money off of ads, even if it was like fractions of a cent here and there. So at a point with like my Destiny video and a few other things, I'd made $4.91, and I calculated out like, between all the labor and the playing and the editing and all this stuff, I was making like less than a penny an hour making all of this content for YouTube. And that's not including all the expenses of buying the games and stuff like that. And so you have to look at it like you're doing it for free, or pretty much as close to free. And I in that video, I was like, there's the are you doing it for the sake of art or are you doing it for the money? And I'm like, well, in a capitalist society where you need money to live, eat, and do basically to live, essentially, I make these in order to make money so that I can make more of them.
Right.
That is the profit motive, is to, I want to make more of these so that you guys can enjoy them, because obviously you enjoy them, because otherwise we're having this discussion at all. And then I want to make more of these, and I want to bring people in, and I want to build up a team, and I want to produce more of this stuff, and I want to do live shows, and I want to have a studio, and I want to be able to express my opinions in different ways and be able to do this or that and that eventually, but you can only do that with money. So it's not me wanting to buy a McLaren and flex and do the whole rice gum thing. It is
right.
Money has to be involved. It's a necessary evil. I'm not going to get a grant to do YouTube videos or something silly like that. But I work on these videos as long and as hard as I can, because like every single one is an improvement of what I did previously. Like the only way I could do the City Skylines video is if I had done the Outer Worlds before that. And if I only could do Outer Worlds because I'd done Thief before that, and so on all the way back through. So like my favorite video is always the latest one, because it's the one where I've been able to apply all of these things that I've done, and I can kind of use it as like a resume, like mentally. And this is what I can do today now. This is what I can do this with After Effects. I can get my friends involved and have them read off comments from another video.
Yeah, sure.
Get that all, because that's one of my favorite parts of the new video is you guys and your lines at the beginning of each chapter reading off all these comments. I love it. I love having you guys in there. That's I want to build like a tiny just co-op where we can work together and get this thing built.
Well, that's good. But I will tell you one thing, and there's one pitfall that I myself have fallen into, is the whataboutism. What about him? Why is he so big? Why am I not as big as him? I'm better than him. I should have more views. And I think a lot of people fall into that. And the minute you start comparing to somebody else, you've already lost. Because you can never compare yourself to another person. You have to look at yourself as a unique individual who has their own things to say in this world. And I think that's what defeats people is, I wish I was as big as this person. I know I'm better than this person. I could do better. And that's the thing, is drive yourself, but look at yourself before you start looking at what somebody else is doing, because that's never going to make you successful.
Before you wreck yourself. Before
you riggedy wreck yourself.
You bring up an excellent point, because actually I did in the green room for the dig, I had a not hot take section back when I did those, and I talked about jealousy. And I'm talking like a church pastor. So last week we were talking about Zechariah and his lambs, and I just had this message, but it was about jealousy and seeing other people. It's like, I started my channel last year and now I can buy my McLaren, or I hit at 600,000 subscribers or whatever. And it's like, and I'm toiling here for 6-7 years now on my channel, and I can buy a McLaren sticker, and that's cool. I don't want a McLaren. That's fine. But
is it the sparkly kind? Those are badass.
Oh God, yeah, I love sparkles.
Little foil on it.
And you like twist in. It's prismatic and lenticular and holographic.
Hell yeah.
God, I know.
That's the life. Sir.
That's my sticker life. But yeah, it is. You are absolutely right. It is so easy to compare yourself, and you cannot compare yourself. Everyone is different. If two people made YouTube channels and posted the exact same content, it would obviously YouTube would ban one of them for stealing content. But if like they would go in different trajectories, and it would affect them in totally different ways, even based on the day that you uploaded a video and the time. It is like it's so out of your hands, and you can get just super crazy about it. But I broke down in tears, and I'm like, man, it doesn't matter. Like, it's hard to get over that, but support your local, support your artistic friends, support your friends' endeavors. Give them a like. Like, you don't have to sit there and like be their hype man or anything, but just like share their stuff, be excited for them, be their support. Have friends, get friends, install Friends. It's an app that you put on your phone, and then you have your friends, and they help you, and they can be your support system as you work through the tough stuff and help you reframe things so that you aren't focusing on how this dude's 10-minute TikTok compilation is getting 1 million views and you're at like 50, wondering what the hell happened after you've spent hundreds of hours in After Effects, which is actually why I don't spend hundreds of hours in After Effects, because I know that's also a production. People can get really wrapped up in the art of the stuff and the intricacies of each individual thing, and I found that I reduce a lot of stress when I can actually eliminate or try to find the most effective minimalist ways to present something. And I think I was talking about it somewhere. Maybe it was a live stream. I don't remember. Maybe it was last week. Who knows? But yeah, I reduced. There were parts in this newest video in particular where I was planning on doing far more elaborate animations. I was planning on doing animations, period. And I know that would have taken an extra 10 to 20 hours to do. But instead, I had appropriate footage that I could just cut, and I was done in like 10 minutes. Yeah. And there's you can really get up your own butt production wise. And that is the other thing, is when you are doing it for the sake of art and you are putting a lot of time into it because you know you have the skills, it can still go completely unseen.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, what's funny is it's just, what was, I was watching a content creator. I want to say it was CNNers, and he used to talk about when he edited his videos, and one of the phrases he said is, "Don't be afraid to kill your baby."
Yes, that's a Stephen King thing too.
Yeah, it's like you can't be afraid to edit down things that are slower and put in the things that are more interesting.
Yeah,
and that's where I think you got to find that fine balance of what's interesting, what's cool to watch, what may be slower. So you may have like a 30-minute video turn into like a 5-minute video, but that's what you would have to do.
Yeah.
So just kind of interesting. That's
it depends. Yeah, depends on what, because like with my reviews, I spend weeks putting together those scripts, and then another week or two editing it down or editing it up or changing the content, stuff like that. But then that has to be locked because I have to record the voiceover and then spend, in the case of Thief, like almost 2 months editing everything on top of that script. And so if you don't have it set right in the first place, there are things that obviously I would change about that Thief review. And instead of going back and tweaking that, I just made the next video better.
No, absolutely.
That's where I went. That's where I went with that. So, and then thoughts on edited content versus streaming content, because some people are more comfortable streaming, some people are more comfortable with editing and producing edited content. And just a small aside, like with Giant Bomb, I was a really big fan of their edited, Drew Scanlon created content, where they would have like the travelogues and the documentaries and stuff like that. But when they switched kind of like 2014, 2015 to pretty much all just recorded live streamed, like that kind of tuned me out. And I think you're just going to have, I think regardless of what kind of content you do, and obviously we both do both, right. Is the stuff you spend weeks, months, or whatever toiling over, and then the stuff you just flip on OBS and like, we're going. But right. They're two totally different kinds of content.
Right. So when you talk about the difficulty of creating content, I think streaming is difficult because imagine trying to entertain people for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hours. Some of these guys grind, but
Yeah.
to continually be on and trying to entertain is just got to be exhausting after a certain time. But I think with edited content, to me, it's something that somebody can just watch when they feel like it. It's not just, like with streaming, you have to catch your stream. They have to know when you're streaming. They have to be able to catch it. They have to be available and ready to watch a stream. With creative content, it's, I know this word throws around everywhere, but evergreen, man. It's just, it's there. People can watch it whenever they want to. They can be entertained by it. And that's really what it comes down to is, are you more a fan of watching something that somebody's created and you have time for, or do you like to sit down and relax and watch somebody stream a game you enjoy? So I think that there's definitely, avenues of growth through both.
Yeah.
It just depends on which one you feel most comfortable with. It's almost like staying in your lane sometimes, but sometimes you want to change lanes and change it up a little bit, but you kind of
go for it.
Yeah, exactly. But doing both is the most beneficial because it gets you the most exposure, in my opinion.
And different kinds, different audiences, and you're
Exactly.
learning. Like, I've learned so much stuff this year getting into streaming, and obviously I've Yahoo in the chat, and Kaz even. I know he's not in tonight, but there are a number of people that are on the Discord regularly because I started streaming, which is something I did not get into until I was watching Rain when he was kind of regularly streaming his political stuff toward the end of last year and into the new year. I was like, man, I'd like to do something like that because I do not like watching game streams, and I'm curious, like, do you ever just pick up someone's stream and just watch it like a VOD, like
Yes.
after the fact? Okay.
But the content I consume on Twitch is far different than the content that I think other people like watch, because I talked about this before. So I primarily watch GTA 5 RP role playing,
which has become like really big in the past year.
It's super good. Like you get emotionally invested in characters that these people are playing, and it's super cool. Like, I subscribe to one, and it's funny because by being in the chats, I'll get gifted subscriptions to other ones.
Oh yes,
but
yeah.
It's really fun to watch because it's almost like an interactive show, and what they do and the way that their characters weave in and out of each other is really cool. Like, you can watch like the cost perspective of this raid on a house where the other character, which is a criminal character, is getting all the stuff out of the house before the cop raids it, right? And that happened not too long ago on a stream I'm watching because this huge arc exploded, and it like just rippled through the entire community of the server and created all this like role playing. And to me, it's like they're actors, and it's almost like watching a TV show, and it's almost better than a TV show. So I'll invest time and I'll go like, oh wow, who's this character? And then I'll go watch that character, and then I may actually subscribe to that person. It leads to the next person. So it's almost like a story-driven thing. So for me, I would watch that. Watching somebody play Call of Duty Warzone, killing people, isn't like, I kind of will watch that on occasion, but it's not what I gear towards. It's not what I want to watch.
It's not, as you put it, evergreen. And I think of like how poorly streaming content, and streaming is great when you're there in the moment. And actually that's why I really wanted to bring why I wanted to do the forum and then eventually move this over to podcast and stuff like that, send that way, is because it draws the middle of, you can listen to an episode of the Nth Forum, and it's a show. It's like a self-contained show that you can enjoy in and of itself, and it's got some structure, even if this isn't as structured as some other earlier episodes or what have you. But that's versus someone playing Fortnite for 20 hours or something. Like, who's gonna sit there and watch the VOD of that unless they're like trying to find like compilation bits and stuff like that. Maybe if you're watching it live, that's interesting, and you want to like get the attention of the streamer, and the streamer is really good about interacting with the chat and stuff like that. But that's, like, in my mind, that's kind of the difference between streaming content, kind of curated streaming content, which we're kind of doing here, and then strictly edited content.
Right. So a good example, and a lot of people hate on this, is like Ninja would not be as big as he is now if he wasn't entertaining while playing Fortnite. Mm-hmm. And that's the biggest thing. Like, well, Ninja blew up because he played with Drake. No, he blew up because he had comedy. He actually was, vocal. He would rage. He would do these other things. So when you watch a streamer, and this goes into what we discussed, is that person entertaining? Do they keep you there with their brand of comedy? Are they quick-witted? Do they have charm? Are you, charisma? Do you want to continue watching them because of that? And that's where, like we were just discussing, if you're not entertaining, then there's no point in you streaming, because nobody's going to want to fucking watch you. Let's just be honest. And I'm not trying to be rude. Some
people need to hear that.
But
like, if you're not...
It's true. But that doesn't mean that you can't learn to be, entertaining, or to learn to be able to talk more, be more interactive,
Don't be thin-skinned about it. Take the feedback.
And that's the biggest thing. Like, when I first started, I go back and I watch my older stuff and I cringe. I have 2 other channels that you don't even know about, Nick, where I was doing stuff in 2013 and 14 and I cringe at. But I go back and watch those Let's Plays, and I kid you not. And I'm gonna go over here and gonna play this, and we should go over here, and it was just like repeating certain words, and I went back and I listened to it, watch it. I'm like, man, I could be so much better and entertained. But it's about growing and becoming, stronger in the craft. Exactly. It's about the content you're creating, and if I felt like I couldn't be entertaining with it, then I wouldn't bother doing it. And I think that's what it comes down to. Does somebody want to watch you for your personality or not?
Yeah.
If I just came on here and I just talked like this and we just had a conversation and I was just being very monotone and we talked about it, that's not entertaining. Nobody's gonna sit and listen to that, right? You're gonna like, hey,
fuck that.
Is that ASMR? Fantastic. I'm gonna go and take a nap now. But
or just feel really weird for a bit.
But exactly, that's my sleepy time. But that's what it comes down to, and that's the biggest thing as a content creator, is being honest with yourself, man. What are you doing that you could do better? And, if you still can't get anywhere, you just keep going. And if you don't get that, like you said, feedback, then you're never going to grow, man. And if you can't get yourself in a critical way, you'll never grow either.
And if streaming live and being able to be on, that's another good point you brought over. Being on, it's a skill. It requires charisma, it requires energy, and it requires kind of an outgoing and just off-the-cuff improvisation that a lot of people don't have or have not developed. Got to exercise the muscles, as Orzine puts it, probably in another context. But, I mean, that's accurate. Is you may be making cringy stuff today that you think is boss ass, like, why isn't people watching this? And then you can come back later and be like, oh fuck, no, that was the wrong thing. And you may do edited content where you can cut out every in every single one of your sentences. Like, when I say like as my crutch word, I try to notice that, but maybe I don't, and then who cares?
Well, it's funny because I used to have that problem as well, until somebody corrected me and said, if you're ever speaking in front of people or you're ever saying anything, count the number of ums and ahs that you say. And if it's a word like that you say a lot, count that as well. And what's funny is you start noticing it, and then slowly over time, you start correcting that, and you don't say that as much anymore. It doesn't come into your mind. You sit and think about your words.
Screen them out.
Yeah, luckily, in my previous profession, I had a lot of opportunity to speak in front of people, which you already know.
Yeah.
Because, when I would go in there and it would just be on, and it would just be like, motivational stuff and getting people going.
Right.
But I learned a lot through that, and I started correcting it and learning how to speak and be more eloquent and convey message and, be able to speak to everyone, and either on a professional or just on that personal level. And I think that's what it comes down to, is everyone should know how to speak in public, because it helps you become a broadcaster. And when I hear the word broadcaster, I think of news radio, news anchors. Those people are broadcasters, and that's what you are when you're a streamer and to a certain extent a content creator. Is you're broadcasting, you're using your voice as a tool to convey a message, to convey your art, to talk about things, and that's what you have to look at it as. It's not just sitting in front of a screen playing a video game. That's my take.
Learning to be you're absolutely right. Learning to entertain, learning to enunciate words, and making sure that the message is clear. It also gives you enough time for your brain to catch up sometimes.
Oh man, I've spoken a mile a minute in my day, dude. I've been like, so you guys got to go over here. We got to get this done. If you don't hurry up, we're not going to be able to get this finished. We don't finish. We got to go. We got to go. We got to. And dude, and people look at you like, oh my God,
what's going on? You get the nerves. You, especially if you're trying something out, you can psych yourself out very easily if you like say you write a script. You want to adhere to a script, or maybe you think you're good and you memorize part of it and you're like, I'm going to improvise the rest, and then when you the light comes on, everything's green and you're like and it falls apart immediately. Exactly.
My mouth is going on.
And then the point is to not freak out. You may be freaking out. That's okay. The point is you take that, you learn it, and you move on. And guess what? There is a point in the future, if this is something you continue to do, that you will do it again. You will find yourself backed into a corner of your own design, a torture trap of your own setting that you will have to work your way through.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the hardest thing, is to take that breath, calm down, and realize you don't have to say everything at once. You can sit and think about your words and not just blurt it all out in verbal diarrhea.
Yeah, and I found that actually helped with one using when I was doing edited content, because I would sit there. Kelly would be the wheels of steel. He'd be at the mixer. He'd be recording something, and I would have a script because I wrote all the scripts, and I would have everyone read all the scripts, everything that I had written. And at first, it'd be going okay. I'd be reading. But I kept tripping over words. I kept tripping over sentences. I keep tripping over this. And he'd be like, dude, slow down. And I wouldn't realize that I'm like just trying to get through it. Like like when you're doing something physical, like running or exercise or something like that, and you're like holding your breath. Yeah. And that's the worst thing that you could possibly do, is now you're depriving yourself of oxygen, and you're like out. Freezing, you're passing out, you're not getting things done, you're like sudden fugue state, and you don't realize that you need to slow down.
Yeah.
And chill a second and think a little bit. And you'll hear it, and you'll hear me do that sometimes, where I'm just like, what's up, guys? And you need that. Sometimes you just need that. You need to just find yourself, relax, get your bearings, and especially like when you're streaming, you can just do it. Who's judging you? Yeah. I know every time that I stop and I just go, everyone in the chat's like, the fuck you doing, Nick? What's going on? I'm not paying my Patreon dollars for this. This garbage content. They're not doing it.
Yeah, sure. I mean, but that's the thing. And I think it's just, you just have to know where the line is of being entertaining and then not either, not entertaining or entertaining, or even being like overly, dramatic or too entertaining. You know what I mean? Or you're trying
find
too
what
hard.
you find what your physical and emotional budget is
ground.
really quick. You can't be
for sure.
You cannot be PewDiePie in real time for hours. PewDiePie is...
and maybe if you had some Adderall, maybe I don't know. Something that might help with that.
Yeah,
it's true. It's hard to maintain those kind of things. But one thing I did want to hit on was when you talked about whether you should have a webcam or not. The largest rising YouTube star has never shown his face.
Yeah.
2 of them. Corpse and Dream. These 2 dudes have never shown their face, yet have millions of people watching them.
Yeah.
So why? And it's something you got to ask yourself. And does it come down to personality? Who they are? Are they funny? People around them? So that's the thing. That people, they get too focused on the minutia, the little things. When really, if you just be yourself, do your best to be, entertaining and provide valuable content to people and do what you can. That's all you can ask, man. But at the end of the day, if it ain't working, man, then you just got to be able to say, maybe this isn't for me and maybe this isn't something I should be doing.
Yeah. And you actually get on a good point that we were actually talking about earlier, and that links in with the, spending hours and hours in After Effects is don't blow a whole bunch of money on this. OBS is free. You don't need a face cam. You do need a microphone. Microphones are cheap. There's probably one built into your laptop or whatever you're using. All of that is super accessible and easy. You got all of that. Okay. There are people who are spending thousands of dollars on DSLR cameras for face cams and green screens and light up sets, and they have 20 subscribers. And who cares? So get the equipment as you need it, because you and I were talking man, I really should spend $200 on a microphone, but this one still works sometimes, and it works enough times that I can actually use it. It's it would be nice to have a dedicated webcam that can do 1080p 60 discrete frames every second. I want that. Do I need it today? No, Steam sales are going to happen between now and then. And I look very beautiful in this setup. You look beautiful in your setup there.
Oh, thank you, gorgeous. You do too, sweetie.
Oh,
but
baby.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. No, but really, you do. The way your setup is, and, I try. This costs basically nothing. So don't freaking take out a bank loan to...
Yeah. A few LED lights stuck on a wall and some posters and some, things on the back. That's all it is. I actually have a green screen that I bought that I'm not even using.
Yeah.
I have a foldable green screen that I could actually be using right now, but I don't use it because I just decided I didn't want the cutout look to my streams.
Yeah.
But I might use it for other content that might require me to have a green screen. But it's nice to have.
It's nice to have it portable and lighting and getting I would love to have.
I bought 2 lights.
Spotlight.
I bought 2 lights.
Yeah, I need. Unfortunately, I have this stupid thing where I've got. I thought it was cool when I bought it, but it's a stand. It's a tripod that's got a vice mount for the phone. My webcam is my Pixel 4 with the Droid Cam OBS app on it for $6, but then it's underneath a ring light, and unfortunately every time I look into the camera you see the ring light, and it's I would love to have the ring light somewhere else so that I can tweak with that, but even that is super cheap. That is super cheap.
Even these lights that I bought off Amazon fairly cheap, and I mean all I do is I turn them against the wall to create light, but not overwhelming light.
Yeah.
If I turn this light this way, I'm going to show you something. You see that?
Yeah.
That's how bright it is. It's an LED light. But that's all you have to do. And it was a pack of 2, fairly inexpensive, $20 maybe.
Yeah.
And you can actually create light. I will admit, I got some foam panels that are on my wall also for sound dampening.
But that's cool.
But they're cheap. Like I said, I didn't spend a ton of money on them. I just found good deals on Amazon, bought them, and then I'm all set, dude.
Yeah, like when I started streaming, I went and bought this $26 LED ribbon, which is what creates the green room. So
Yeah, exactly.
This thing. Yeah. So it's just a ring, just a line of LED lights along the wall, and that's it. It was $27. And if I had just the ring light, it looks like I'm in a cave, very creepy. But I turn this thing back on, it looks like I'm kind of filled in. You know,
But
in time I'll
if I
tweak
turn-
with this and that, but still.
that's the thing. Even if I flicked on natural light, or not natural light, but an actual light switch,
Yeah.
I mean, but I like the atmosphere of having the lights on and it be a little darker because I kind of dig that.
Yeah,
You know,
and then you
this-
become the
this light's
foreground
fine.
object.
Yeah, so it just, it's all in how you work it, man. I mean, you can make things work to your advantage. There's LUT files on OBS to make your webcam look better. There's
Yes.
filters you can use.
There's
There's rating. There's things you could do. So if you go and look at my OBS stream, looks cleaner than this because I've adjusted the colors for my webcam.
right.
On here, because I'm just on Skype on another thing, I don't have any LUTs on it.
Exactly.
So my stream cam looks better than this
But it
cam.
still looks so good. It really does.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I hope that's
I
the
ju-
case.
And if you master all this, you can be a director of photography for a major motion picture, because that's 100% what their job is too.
I think people. I went to school, like I said, the Art Institute, and
Yeah.
I learned a lot of these things.
Quick notice:
from
we
there,
both did, just different schools
Yeah.
at different times.
Yeah, because key lighting, backlighting, 3-point lighting. I mean, you learn all. Like, I literally had like an actual video camera, and was like, we did like the whole thing, dude. So you learn those kind of things. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's a skill, but you could learn online. You could learn anything. You can go on like websites like Skillshare and learn there. I wish I was sponsored, but you could go on different, or just learn, Google it. That's the new catchphrase, right? I'm going to Google that. And you could probably learn how to do it because somebody's, created an evergreen content to help somebody.
Yeah, and
Which is
honestly,
cool.
that learning is one of the most exciting parts of doing any of this, is just like the fundamental knowledge you need to get some of this, like learning how to get OBS up and running and connecting it to these different and stream keys and plugins and what folders those got, like all of the stuff around that, and then setting up your lighting, and then all that's like that helps you with other things as well. So even if this doesn't, if streaming 20 hours of Pokemon a week is not gonna work out for you, you can take those things and apply those to other things in the real world.
Exactly.
Or artistically. So
yeah, for sure. So I mean, there's definitely things you can do. I mean, I used to have a pop filter for this microphone until I bought like a foam one because I was tired of because you have the pop filter.
Yeah.
But it just would go everywhere, and it was just it's too much. And I'm like, how much for a condom for this thing? So I got the foam thing and put it on there, and I'm like, okay, now that feels better.
I wish they had like a spherical one, because I do have to adjust the microphone, and then the pop filter is gonna go whatever direction going in.
Annoying.
Oh well.
To say the least.
Such as
I like it.
I'm gonna get one of those $200 pop filters. That's what I really want. The Logitech
Yeah, you don't
Pop
need
Filter
that.
5000.
You don't need it.
What? Pop filter ASMR.
Definitely don't need it. I mean, you still sound fine. I don't, like I said, your P's don't pop and your
my
cuz don't
plosives.
cuh.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as you're not like putting it in your mouth, you're fine.
Yes.
You're not eating the microphone. I think
God,
you're
I
good.
know. Yeah, and then of course being able to sit there with OBS and be like, I'm gonna bring this down a little bit. That's pretty good.
Oh, yeah, you can do the levels and the noise getting your set, man. It's cool. It's all
You learn.
good.
You just learn. You learn as you go. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Oh, we have covered a lot of ground. I think that worked. I think this experiment worked.
Yeah.
I think
there's nothing wrong with a little off the cuff stuff.
That's exactly. And you know what? There's another. You have to learn how to be off the cuff and improvise whenever you need to. That is a very good skill that will help you with practically any fucking thing in the universe.
Very true.
So, any final thoughts on this before we go into the promote ourselves bit? Parting advice for those who are like, I want to start a YouTube channel tomorrow because it's too late today.
Set realistic expectations. Set goals for where you want to go. Don't ever compare yourself to anybody else because you are a beautiful, unique individual in yourself, and give yourself time to grow. Oh, and let's go with the 5. Continue learning and never stop.
Ah, yes. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And keep trucking. Like,
yeah,
don't give up. Don't give up. Don't let failure set you back, because you can learn if you're smart. If you're ingenious enough, you can take what you.
So what about all the dumb people? Are you just gonna like talk about dumb people now? That's not cool. Stop it, Nick. I'm kidding. I'm just joking. But yes, you're good enough. You're smart enough, and doggone it, people love you.
All right, let's break it out. Thank you guys for watching. Let's bring in Jace. What you promoting? What you got going on? What you want people to see? Go place.
Long, arduous task of creating the video I'm working on right now. Working on some streams. I've been super just busy and doing other things, and I haven't really been doing that. Probably gonna stream some more, but I really like to. You actually, this talk has motivated me more to go create some more new content.
Heck yeah!
Creating content. So that's what I'm gonna go work on. So hopefully I'll get that video cracked out by next week, if not more, and maybe an impromptu just chatting and post that up too.
Where can we find you?
Twitch.tv Smirking Pixel, YouTube.com Smirking Pixel, and of course Twitter Smirking Pixel. All the fun socials, just using that name. You can find me.
Smirking Pixel. Yeah, we're easy to find, and we've got you, and you're in the Discord as well. I want to thank you so much for joining me tonight. Let's go to the end screen. How's that sound? Boom. Where are we at? Yes! Guys, I see how many likes this video has. If you're here, thank you so much for watching. If you're watching this in the future, VOD style or what have you, thank you for watching then too. I appreciate you. If you could smash that like button. I hate saying that. If you could press the like button, please. And that'll help me with the algorithm. Help us all. All that fun. You just sat down, Balder. We start at the same time every week. Fine. You know what? It's cool. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit subscribe. If you're on Twitch, I know you're busy. You're a busy dude. Thank you. Thank you for stopping. Thank you for thinking of me. That helps me out, knowing that people think of me. If you're on Twitch, hit that follow button. That's pretty cool too. Check out the Patreon, patreon.com/The Nth Review. Go check it out. That allows me to produce more reviews quicker, more wonderful content like this with friends of the Nth. Absolutely. Join the Discord. We've got a free. You don't need to pay any dollars, any cents at all to access the Nth Review Discord. But if you are a Patreon supporter, you do get access to exclusive channels and all that fun stuff. Social media is everywhere you're at. I usually update it, but forgive me. Green room on Tuesdays. There wasn't a green room this Tuesday because we had a big video release. It was a big old thing. They only happen every couple months, so I hope you enjoy that. Go watch that if you haven't already. And then next Thursday, the Nth Forum live. Everyone says that they should be available back from town or whatever next week. And we can have them join in and talk about their YouTube experiences as well. But I think Jace and I have it covered. I think we just got it done. So I want to thank, definitely. yeah, we got it. We did it. We did it. And I need to thank my Patreon supporters over here. Thank you so much, my producers, my assistant producers, and everyone else who helps bring this to life. So Until next time, hey, I'll see you next time. Pew 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 pew. I don't know what's going on.